Hello, my name's John, and I'd like to talk to you today about quartz. Quartz is a wonderful mineral. It's found all over the world, and it comes in so many varieties. I've scoured the internet for videos that go in depth about different varieties of quartz and come up short. So I'd like to offer some pieces from my own collection today and give a little bit of insight. Let's begin with the most common variety of quartz, clear quartz. Clear quartz is the second most abundant mineral in Earth's crust. It forms in a crystalline structure with six-sided prisms, terminating with six-sided pyramids at the top and sometimes at the bottom. Quartz is what some types of glass are made out of. The ancient Greeks called quartz crystallos, which means ice, and it has a hardness of 7. Here we see a piece of Lemurian quartz. Lemurian quartz has horizontal striations on one or more sides. It's found in Brazil amongst other places. Some consider these pieces to have a link to ancient civilizations. Here's an example of a quartz cluster, where quartz can form alongside other pieces that are smaller or larger. Here's another example of a quartz cluster that's more flat. Quartz comes in all shapes and sizes and different varieties, and pieces can be found oftentimes together. Milky quartz. Milky quartz has microscopic inclusions of fluids at early stages or later stages of growth that cover the quartz in a milky, almost white, glossy color. Spirit quartz, also known as cactus quartz. This quartz variety comes with all sorts of tiny miniature points covering the sides of the body of the quartz crystal. Smoky quartz. Smoky quartz's dark color comes from long periods of irradiation from the Earth's crust, usually at temperatures between 100 degrees or lower. Here we see different pieces of smoky quartz that showcase different lengths of time being irradiated. You can see that sometimes not the entire piece gains the same smoky effect from the irradiation. Citrine. Citrine is a yellow variety of quartz that is oftentimes faked by heat-treating amethyst. Citrine does occur naturally, but it's uncommon. It's caused by small amounts of iron in the quartz as it's forming to give it its yellowish hue. Here we're looking at a few different pieces of citrine with different varieties of yellowish color. This one is my favorite, as it has a very nice gemmy quality to it, and a cathedral quartz cluster along the sides. Rutilated quartz. Rutilated quartz has golden threads of rutile, or titanium oxide, found inside of it. If you look closely, you can see these little threads that look sort of like steel wool. Tourmilated quartz. Tourmilated quartz is very similar to rutilated quartz in that it has inclusions of tourmaline, these small black strings of tourmaline that you see that have formed within the quartz structure itself. Here we see a piece of tourmaline that's quite large. It's grown inside of the quartz as the quartz was forming. This next example is something called indicolite quartz, which is quartz with inclusions of the blue variation of tourmaline, a crystalline boron silicate mineral with other elements inside of it. The blue color is very rare to find in nature, and it's even more rare to find it grow inside of a quartz crystal. Here you can see the example of just how beautiful these crystals can be. The natural color contrast of a blue flaked with gold. Dumortierite quartz. This variation of quartz is also very rare. This mineral occurs as needles of fibrous masses consisting of aluminum and iron to form the blue coloring. Here is a more popular variety of quartz called amethyst. Amethyst is the violet variation of quartz. The name is the Greek derivative of not an intoxicant, suggesting that the stone is a protection against drunkenness. Amethyst is associated with the Greek god of wine, Dionysus. Amethyst is caused by irradiation and iron during growth. Here we see banded amethyst, or chevron amethyst, where you can notice where the points where the crystals started and stopped growing create these striations or stripes along the sides. Brandenburg quartz is a naturally irradiated quartz that generates a smoky color alongside the violet color and is found only in Namibia, Africa. Tangerine or Hematoid quartz. Tangerine quartz gets its name from its orange color. Found in locations with water and iron, it is rust that gives it its orangey hue. Here we see a piece with a more reddish color. Although it's red on the outside, you can see by the bottom that the quartz on the inside is clear. In this example, this cluster has caps of hematite on the very top. You can also see a red color within it, as the hematite was present as the quartz crystal was forming, to give it a more fully red color. This next example is hematite-capped amethyst, or a very old form of amethyst that's been irradiated to the point where it turns black, and it's capped with hematite or ferric oxide on the very top of the crystal. Amphimbole quartz. Amphimbole quartz is one of my favorite variations of quartz, as it's known on the market. It is found in only one location in Brazil. It consists of inclusions of actinolite, hornblende, ribectite, brichterite, and tremolite. Colors include white, yellow, orange, red, and brown. You can see that some of these pieces are incredibly beautiful, and they personally remind me of Mars or Jupiter, with the intense variations of red and white coloring swirling through the quartz crystal as if they were trapped in air. Red rutile quartz. This variation of rutile quartz has a reddish hue to it. This particular piece was found in China. Many of these pieces on the market are oftentimes polished in order to give you a better view of what's going on inside. Rose quartz. Rose quartz often comes in chunks. Its pink hue is due to trace amounts of titanium, iron, or manganese. Rose quartz does not form in a terminated crystal shape. Lithium quartz. Lithium quartz, on the other hand, does form in a terminated crystal shape, and also has a wonderful variety of pinkish hue. Hedenbergite or Prase quartz. Hedenbergite quartz has green inclusions of crystal that are stubby and prismatic, and can be found with a dull or glass-like appearance. This particular piece of quartz is a Prase quartz known as Seraphos quartz. It's called Seraphos quartz because it's found specifically on the island of Seraphos, Greece. If you look closely, you can see hundreds of tiny crystalline structures. Quartz with Epidote, also known as Epidote included quartz. This variation consists of green or yellow crystalline structures that are made up of calcium, aluminum, and iron to give it its green coloring. If you look closely, some of these quartz pieces look as if they almost have a plant growing inside of them. This brings us to our next variation of quartz, garden quartz. Also known as rainforest quartz, scenic quartz, or lodolite, this quartz appears to have garden or underwater scenes inside of it. It comes from the Greek word meaning muddy stone and consists of inclusions of chlorite, feldspar, and other varieties of minerals. Let's take a look at some other minerals in quartz. Here's an example of kyanite in quartz. Kyanite comes in blue, green, and black colors. It is aluminum rich, and the name comes from the Greek origin of the color cyan. Here's an example of fluorite on quartz. Fluorite occurs in all colors, most commonly octahedral and cubic. Fluorite is one of the more famous fluorescent materials. In fact, the word fluorescent is derived from the mineral fluorite. Here's another example of fluorite on quartz. This example shows some truly beautiful green and bluish color on the two pieces of fluorite attached to the one milky quartz in the center. Here is a piece of quartz with pyrite. Quartz that grew in conjunction with pyrite, or fool's gold as it's also commonly known, which is a yellow iron-based mineral that resembles gold and has a cubic formation. Here is a piece of quartz on albite feldspar. This is quartz with a variation of feldspar, which is a crystal that forms from magma and other sedimentary rocks. It's commonly used in glass making, and it looks beautiful here. Here's one last piece, probably my favorite, of quartz and fluorite. If you look closely, it almost resembles two great white sharks, possibly a mother and son, swimming in the ocean and eating up some fish. And to finish off, here is one last piece of quartz, a large cluster. To me it resembles something like a sea anemone, maybe found on a coral reef or at the bottom of the ocean. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for watching if you got to this point. And I'll say that, although I'm no geologist, I do love rocks. And I hope that this video has inspired you to do a little research of your own. I hope you have a wonderful day, and take care. Happy collecting.